This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Again, the blessings to our Lord and Savior. We give him the glory and thank you for another opportunity to be here with you for today. First, I just want to say, hey, our fans were phenomenal. I really appreciate all their support throughout the whole football game. I thought it was a great environment. They were engaged. They were enthusiastic. They were involved. And I know that really helped our football team. So we're very, very grateful. I think the big thing that excites me about it, the positive things, we made plays when we had to make them in the game. And I think when you see your football team respond like we did, offense, defense, special teams, in a pressure situation, it comes down to 2 or 3 different plays. And we made more plays than they did in critical situations. We kind of keep track of some categories. We call them critical situations. It may be third down. It may be in a punt situation, maybe in a kickoff situation. We really truly evaluate those guys, and I think we had about a 90% in the critical situations where we won that down, so to speak, and that's huge. We talk about that all the time. You never know when those plays are, but we did a fantastic job there. I think the thing here, I also want to just comment here strongly with Coach Wembley, true leader, did a fantastic job of coming to me, and we talked and discussed about a lot of different things last week. I thought he did a fantastic job of bringing up some solutions, as we all do as coaches, really in life. Who are the people that are problem solvers? And then 2 of us got together, continued to talk about different things we need to do to improve our defense. He brought some ideas. I brought some ideas and came to a conclusion as he brought up an idea of him going to the box. We talked about that, came to a few more things to make sure we clarified what needed to be done, why it needed to be done, and then how it was going to be done throughout the game. And so we rectified all that. So I want to give a lot of credit to Coach Wembley and the whole defensive staff. Again, a great game. Again, you got so many great stats and gave up only 1 touchdown. I mean, that's tremendous in today's football games. If you can only give up 1 touchdown, obviously you're skyrocket in your opportunity to win a football game because there's a lot of points being scored. I don't care what team you're playing, how you're playing them, what kind of offense they have or whatever. And to only give up 1 touchdown, that means a whole lot to our defense, and it says a whole lot about our staff, and it says even a tremendous amount to our players. Again, a few other little things. As we all know, they forced 3 field goals. They had only allowed 3 explosive. That's a tremendous stat to me. We talk about it every week, and that's probably one of the things that myself and I and Coach Wembley talk about is limiting their explosive plays, anything over 20 yards, and we only gave up 3 of those. We forced 2 turnovers, 4 sacks, 8 TFL. So tremendous performance. Special teams, I think the one big key category there is on the punt return. Our punt, their punt return, where they fumble it. Caleb Coleman came up with it. Obviously, we did not able to score, advance a fumble and a touchdown, but that was a key part of the game there. It was right before halftime there. They had a chance to maybe go out and try to score some other points. And then the thing about our offense, just a great job in the last drive to do the conversion. Buckshot, probably one of his best drives that he's had in his career here, to put together those type of things with the receivers, the offensive line, the running backs. Just a tremendous thing that they did there, converting 3 third downs. And then for us to make a decision to say, hey, let's go for it. When I say go for it, I'm talking about going for a touchdown versus satisfying to go for a field goal. So we took that shot there to throw a fade route there to B.J. Farrell, and then obviously he did a fantastic job of converting on that. Turning over here tonight to Idaho State. This is a good football team. This is a very good football team. We watch them on tape. They know how to execute. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the head coach's name there, so I'm not going to mess with it. But their team plays with a passion. They execute very well, particularly on the offense. On the defense, they play very, very sound football. But just going to kind of go through a couple of things that I've kind of looked at on them on the offensive side of the ball. Last year, they beat Nevada. They have a very talented offensive group. The quarterback averaged 280 yards per game. They average 240 yards on running the football. So they're over 500 yards of total offense. So I don't care who you're playing. If you're able to average 500 yards in every football game, you know how to do some productive things on the offensive side of the ball. They run the ball very, very well. They got two running backs. I got one kid here. I think he's about 5'10" and 5'11". He's about 225 pounds. He's gained about, I think I said about 500, 600, actually 600 yards of rushing. Not a fast back, powerful back, knows how to read his keys there and make some great gains. They have another running back, number 24. He rushed for 485 yards. He's not quite as big as him. He's probably 5'10", 5'11". He may have about 200 pounds, but they just run those two guys back and forth. So you got two backs that's rushed already over 1,000 yards. So they know what they're doing. They know how they're doing it. They've scored 15 touchdowns. The two backs have scored 15 touchdowns, and we're going to have our hands full. Then you talk about the receivers. They have one guy, very, very talented. I think he's 27, 28 years old. I think he was a first-round draft pick in the baseball. So he went and played baseball for 4 or 5 years, number 2. I don't know how to necessarily pronounce it. I'm going to say it's Gill. It could be Guler, the older brother of the quarterback, number 2. He's 6'3", about 220, 225 pounds. They throw the ball to him. He's got almost 800 yards in 6 football games of catches, and they go to him. And he's very, very, very productive. They have another receiver, kind of complete opposite, 5'6", 5'7", maybe a buck, 155, 160 pounds. They go to him. He's quick, he's fast, and does a lot of good things there for them. So those are the 2 top receivers that they have. So offensively, they're very, very productive in what they do. Defensively, they run an odd front. They mix up their coverages quite a bit. They're big in their, I'm going to call it a post read. As far as what I mean by that is when the ball snap, they may start pre-snap. They should look like something. Then on post-snap, after the ball snap, they change into something else. So they do a lot of good things there as far as changing up the looks once the ball is snapped. They do have some guys that are, I think the linebacker there, number 39 there, does some good things and runs around pretty good. The defensive line, 94, is a good football player and very, 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 very active. So we got our hands full, and great thing here, we are playing at home, and I know our guys will be ready to play. Injuries, Gandy Golden's out, still at the mono. Fouts is doubtful, upper body. Donaldson is full go. J.T. Wood is questionable. Jerome Jackson is questionable. Alex Probert is questionable. Keys to the game. We need to make sure that we have more explosive plays than they do. It's still got to go to explosive plays. I think that's very important in every ball game, and I'm going to continue to talk about that every ball game. When we've been successful, we have had more explosive plays than they have. We got to win special teams. We got to continue to improve in that area. We're making some progress, but not in all areas. We must win at the line of scrimmage. So our O-line needs to be able to defeat their defensive line, and vice versa. Our D-line needs to be able to be more physical than their offensive line. Open it up to questions.
Coach, you mentioned the injury report. Kentori Matthews and Ethan Crawford, what's their status for this week?
Matthews questionable. Ethan Crawford full go.
When you look back at the film from Saturday, what was the thing that impressed you most about your team's performance?
Fourth quarter. Fourth quarter was impressive. Throughout the game, I'm going to say it's impressive, but I had to say the fourth quarter was impressive. I thought our defense kind of took over the game at the line of scrimmage and did some great things. And then obviously the last drive there was crucial in the way our offense responded. You like to see that, and it was great to see it and to see us execute in pressure situations and making some calls for us as offensive coaches, making some certain calls, deciding what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and then trusting our players to execute it and get it done.
Alex Probert seemed like he went through the full repertoire of warm-ups Saturday, even kicked a 49-yard field goal, was in pads on the sideline. Is he close to being back, and when do you expect him to start getting some game repetition?
Week to week. We'll just evaluate it every Friday, or it could be all the way up through game day to decide. So it's just kind of a week-to-week basis to see how he feels. Is he ready to execute and go from there?
With the punting situation, Aiden Alves had that booming punt out of the end zone that Troy muffed and Caleb Coleman recovered, but then he had back-to-back 9-yard punts. Are you guys looking at possibly putting Aaron Pierre back there, or are you still going with Alves?
We're going to go with Alves. We'll make some corrections and see if he improves. Just like any other situation, we continue to evaluate it, continue to improve on him, and see what happens.
You mentioned Zach Fouts is out. Do you have a timetable on him?
I didn't say he's out. He's questionable. We're just going to see at the end of the week where it's at that particular time.
team is 0-2, coming off wins so far this year, coming off a big win against Troy, playing an FCS opponent. What's your message to the team to make sure that there's no letdown?
Oh, it's just always just trying to improve. Don't get caught up into the hype, the different things that are going on. Just like in everything in life, it's what you do now. It's what you do today. It's not what you've done in the past. You just learn from the past and you keep moving forward. So I think our coaches are ready to take on the task as continue to get us. That's up to us as coaches to get our players to play consistently week after week. So I look forward to it. I'm excited about another opportunity to continue to improve this football team.
Kind of along those lines, will this game in some ways tell you more about your team and the way that they're able to follow up a performance like Troy, especially from the defensive side?
I think, every game is always unique. Again, just like anything is how do you handle prosperity, how do you handle adversity? That's a life. That's a challenge. 18 to 22, 23 years old, a lot of different things that are going on and different things that are happening. So I think every week is always a challenge. I think every week in this particular season is always a challenge. Every year is always, but this is a unique situation that we're in an FBS and all the different challenges, and we know that every game's a challenge. No matter what we have done the week before, every week is a challenge, and those are the things that I talk about to our team is how you're going to respond. You can't pat yourself on the back and really in 12 to 24 hours. That's about it. After that, you got to turn the page and go on. That's the same thing in life. What are you going to do the next day as far as you go to work, whether it's football related or non-football related? Everybody's responding is how you're going to continue to move forward.
What are the things you need to correct with Aiden Alves so that way he's more consistent on the punts? Because the two bad punts he had, there didn't seem to be much pressure on him.
Well, just technique. And just continue to work on his technique. He's a guy that's inexperienced. He hadn't played a whole lot. Unfortunately, in the situation as far as just like a quarterback, when a quarterback, most cases, make a mistake, and sometimes it's not his mistake. But in a punter situation, he makes a mistake. Everybody sees it and everybody knows it. So we still believe in him. He just needs to get corrected. He's a young guy, still trying to acclimate to playing time and all that, and we still believe in him. We'll give him another opportunity.
Will Coach Wimberly remain up top this week and for the rest of the year? And how big of a factor do you really feel that was in Saturday's win?
Yes, I guess we haven't necessarily said it's definitely going to be a permanent thing. I would say we're leaning toward that. I guess like in anything, if you're always looking at things to improve. Obviously, this was a big adjustment and a big improvement. I anticipate him to stay there, but I think the biggest thing that occurred was I think he got a chance to see things. We talked about it. There's usually about anywhere from 3 to 4 seconds. What I mean by that is he was relying upon somebody upstairs to give him information, as in, for an example, to say, we say they were in 11 personnel, 12 personnel. He hears that, then he got to make a call, versus he can see them running on the field and get his call in that 2, 3, or 4 seconds quicker. So I think all those things combined kind of really helped us to get those things. Then I think the other part of it was like in practice, we did thud a lot more throughout the week. Probably had 2 or 3 days 2 days where we did it. I thought that maybe helped us to tackle a little bit better. So we'll continue to do those things to help our football team improve.
Coach, you also had Bookbinder and Roberts on the field. How much of an impact did that have versus them being upstairs?
Yeah, that was the same thing there. So they just flip-flop. And that was pretty more of our discussion. How many of those guys do we have on the field? And we kind of talked, and I encouraged to say it probably would be good to have both of them down there. That way we have everybody in their position. They would have a group to talk to, meaning that the D-line had Coach Singletary to talk to. They had Bookbinder, the linebackers, to talk to. We had Wilkins downstairs with our spur position. Then we had Roberts. He can talk to the corners and the safety. So they had a position coach to be able to specifically talk to them about what they need to adjust, what were they doing, how they need to do things of that nature. So we kind of went a little bit back and forth whether we would keep one of those guys upstairs with him, and we came to a conclusion to do what we did later there.
The 4 sacks, the ATFLs, how were you guys able to get more pressure on the quarterback, and was that a point of emphasis in the game plan?
Well, we talked about putting more pressure. We're not a pressure team, if you would say, just in general. We've probably been somewhere around 10% of the time and as far as putting pressure. When I say pressure, I'm going to say 5 guys or 6 guys or more. So we thought a little bit more going more 5 and 6. I think occasionally we did maybe 2 plays where we had 7-man pressure when we had just a zero coverage. So we did talk about and discuss it to say let's put a little bit more pressure to force them on the thing and see can they handle it. Not only the quarterback perspective, but also the offensive line, the running backs having to protect, and I think it worked to our advantage.
Austin Lewis had a crucial sack there late in the game. What have you seen out of him as a true freshman, being able to come in and make an impact early?
Well, we believe in Austin Lewis. He's done a fantastic job bringing him along slowly, not playing him a whole lot, just kind of having him spot every once in a while as far as some of our defensive ends. I think he's coming along very, very good. Has some natural ability. Still got some things he needs to work on, but I'm pleased to see him get his opportunity and make some plays like he had to make. So I'm very, very glad that he's on our football team.
Past few years, once you've gotten on the plus side of the field, you feel like you have a good chance to at least get points, field goals. And this year, you've only attempted 3 field goals. Do you expect to get more opportunities to have Aaron or even Alex attempt longer field goals, so that way when you get on the plus side of the field, turn it into points instead of having to punt it back to the other team?
Game by game, situation by situation. It's just my decision on what we feel like is appropriate for us to help us win the football game. So I'm not against them being able to try long field goals. It'd probably be in the 40s. Again, not to say they can't do it for a 50-yard field goal. It'd probably be a last play type of thing, whether it's Aaron Pert or any other person. Game by game, always dictate things that you want to do.
Would you call their quarterback a true dual threat guy? It looks like he's in the positive on the rushing yards, but kind of elaborate on him and his style of play.
Yeah, he's a dual threat. He will run the ball. I don't say that they're going to run a lot of run play design. They do a few of them. He will take off running. That's probably the biggest thing he does when he drop backs and pass. He's not afraid to run. So that's his biggest attribute. And he's a pretty accurate passer, has good size, and he knows where he's going with the football. So he does a good job on his decisions.
How much discussion, Coach, was there last play offensively of potentially kicking a field goal to make it a potential 9-point game at the very end?
I had, I think, right in the 3rd down situation, once our defense, and then we got to the 4th down, I thought it was a little bit more riskier to go for a field goal than to not. I really felt our defense was playing very, very well. So I looked at it in a situation to say, I don't think that they can drive in 2 or 3 plays in 80 yards or so to win the football game versus taking the riskier opportunity as far as kicking the field goal. So that was truly all my decision.
Defensively, it looks like numbers-wise they struggle. Talking about Idaho State, I mean, they've given up over 400 yards a game. Where have you seen some of the breakdowns in them defensively and what you've seen so far?
I think in most defenses, tackling. I can't sit here and say it's one group of guys. When I've seen some big plays, they've given up a lot of explosive because they've been missed tackles, whether they've been passes or whether they've been runs, if I had to say to one area.
From the wide receiver depth, do you have anyone outside of the 5 listed on the depth chart who you expect to get more reps during the week and maybe get some playing time Saturday?
That's evaluation here in the next 2 or 3 days. We got 2 or 3 people in mind. We're just going to evaluate them and see what happens here Thursday and Friday and make a decision.
Coach, can you talk about the year B.J. Farrow is having, senior year, just the way he's been able to step up and really have a productive season for you?
B.J. Always been reliable. He probably has our best hands on our football team as far as just truly being able to catch with his hands and tuck the ball and run after it. Has a great ability as far as body control, can catch the ball in a tremendous amount of, we call it radius. The ball within his framework, he's gonna catch the football. So I'm very pleased, very diligent, hard worker, believes in his ability. Great, I think, chemistry between he and Buckshot on their routes and different things that they're doing. So I think they got a good rhythm going, and I'm glad he's on our team, and I expect him to make even some more plays.
The play you got the 2-point conversion on, was that the Philly special, or was it a variation of it?
Well, technically, we got it from Clemson. So we call it actually Clemson. As far as this is play call, we just call it Clemson. So, yeah, I think obviously we see different plays from all over the country and different things that go up and implement them in there and all that. Again, it's a tremendous job, really more on DJ Stubbs' part. Again, we've done the play, probably in the last year and a half since he's been here. We never have thrown the ball in practice to a receiver. Besides, really it's always thrown to Buckshot. That's who is going to the quarterback. But again, DJ had played quarterback in high school, so that's why we kind of have him in there. He's kind of went back to his old quarterback skills, knowing he had a first guy. We kind of maybe mentioned to him, you kind of have BJ here, but it was not necessarily maybe really a thought. Just say if you didn't have the quarterback and Buckshot, run the ball. That's kind of what we basically have told him in practice and all those kind of things. So great job by him, great execution, and it was just a phenomenal played game by our football team.